You are watching Access LaPorte County, Channel 97. Coming up next is the September 26, 2022 meeting of the LaPorte County Council. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
This time we're going to call the LaPorte County Council regular meeting for September 26, 2022 to order at 6:18. If everybody please stand for the pledge. Turn off your cell phones if you haven't already. Mr. Egan.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Auditor.
Councilman Novak.
Present.
Councilwoman Grammarosa.
Present.
Councilman Rosenbaum.
Present.
Councilman Yagelski.
Present.
Councilman Cunningham. Councilman Mullenhour.
Present.
And Councilman Gardner.
Present.
All 7 are present.
Thank you. Approval of the September 26, 2022 agenda.
Mr. President, I have a few adjustments to the agenda, some additions. Under new business, under number 4, it's not the approval of the LaPorte County Recycling, it's actually a public hearing. We'll be approving it next month. Number 9, we're gonna add a number 9, we're gonna have a discussion on the Franklin Street Bridge. We're gonna add a number 10, we're gonna have a discussion on the rental assistance. Under old business, we're gonna bring back the community corrections. We're talking about spending that $100,000 that was previously advertised and we only gave half. It's also important to note, for those members on the council, it was advertised that we could take money from just about any fund for each of these. It's not the way it's written. That was the way it was advertised, but it's not written on our agenda as such. So we would need to go back to that, and everybody should have the schedule of balances as well. Thank you. Those are the adjustments that I have.
We do apologize for the Scrivener's error.
Thank you. Is there a second on the agenda?
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Yagelski. Any other questions or additions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item, approval of the August 22, 2022 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve those minutes.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum,
Second.
second by Mr. Gardner. Any other questions or corrections? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Public comment. Public comment is now open. Anybody from the public that would like to speak, one at a time. No, go ahead. Come on. If you're.
Mark Parkman, 4052 South, 1100 West in Westville. Just wanted to stop and say thank you to you guys for helping LaPorte County in regards to Purdue Extension. I know I've reached out to each one of you individually. I know a lot of your constituents did. And without your help, we wouldn't be where we're at today. It's been almost a year since I was up here asking for a little bit of help. And a lot of things have happened to the good, and it wouldn't have happened without your help. And so just wanted to take a moment to say thank you. We appreciate it.
And just so everybody knows, Purdue has appointed a new regional director. Is that
There's an interim CED
right?
and an interim District 10.
But the current one
manager.
is no longer there.
Yeah.
Right.
So hopefully we're going to build that program back up and get it going in the right direction again. So just wanted to take a moment to say thank you.
Thank
I'd
you.
like to thank you and all the volunteers that go out there. That's a wonderful program for the kids. Appreciate
Appreciate
it.
Thank you, Mark. Anybody else from the public?
Good evening. I've taken the liberty to put a packet together that my board member and board president,
Name?
Cindy Davis from North Central Community Action Agency in Michigan City. We service LaPorte, Stark, and Pulaski counties in community services. And we have been in business for 56 years. And in your packet, we have information about how many people we have served for LaPorte County for the past 56 years. And it shows 1 year of people that we have helped. Our biggest program is energy assistance, where we help people pay their utility bills so that they stay warm during the winter months. And last year we helped 4,334 households. We do emergency furnace repair replacement, and there was 8 households that did that. We have weatherization, which is 56 households. We have a ramp program that we build ramps for those that are in need. We have a children's vision screening program that we have 1,814 children that were screened last school year. We have youth programs and senior programs and community gardens and rental assistance and information and referrals. We have 2 community centers in Michigan City, one on the east side and on the west side, and they were donated to us back in the 80s by the city, and they're the old east side and west side fire stations. And so one is located at 1702 East Michigan Boulevard, which is the Emmett Wise Center. And the other one is the Madeline and George Smirth Center at 301 Grant Street. Our agency has partnered with Ton and Blank as well as the Healthcare Foundation of LaPorte to build an addition onto the Wise Center. The Smirth Center has an addition put onto it, but the Wise Center does not, so it has very limited space. The plans for the addition has been drafted by Ton and Blank as well as the budget, which is estimated to cost $300,000. That is in your packet also. You'll see that it's not a fancy addition. We're just asking for a room, but everything is so expensive these days, especially the supplies and the labor. We're asking the LaPorte County Council for a motion of support of $100,000 for this project through the ARPA funds that the county has received. It's our intention to approach the City of Michigan City as well as other local foundations to help this dream become a reality. By expanding the Wise Center, we will be able to provide a larger space for the youth to be engaged in positive activities. Both of the centers are located in the low-income areas of Michigan City and of LaPorte County. And then allow more residents of the area to walk to the center for gatherings, for trainings, workshops, and community meetings. And the center would be available to be rented for family reunions, birthdays, and for the general public to use. So we're asking for a motion of support. Do you have any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Real quick.
What's your pleasure?
I'm sorry, real quick question.
Question.
Apologize. So the other counties, you have 2 other counties, Stark and
Pulaski.
Pulaski. Do they come up here and participate in any way, or are you there working with them? How does that work?
We subcontract dollars to them so that they're the one-stop shopping. There's the Pulaski County Human Services Incorporated and Community Services of Stark County. So we actually delegate certain amounts of money so they can run their community service programs. And they do the energy assistance, and then we go into those counties and do weatherization. We do weatherization in 7 counties.
7 counties?
7 counties.
You want me to make it or you got it? Okay, we'd like to make a motion of support for $50,000, and I believe it needs to be subject to the commissioner's approval as well. And that would be the motion that I'm making.
There a motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Gardner.
Real quick question.
Mr. Gatsky.
We were given a list, remember a while back, in the top 10 list or whatever you want to call it from the commissioners. Is that why we have to go back to commission, because it has to come through them?
Correct. They have to, what's
spend-
the word I'm looking for?
To spend that portion of
They
the
have to propose the
Correct.
spending and then we can spend it.
Okay.
Right.
You answered my question. Thank you.
Yep.
They have to find the need and then you come back to you for appropriation, except you're going in reverse.
We're going a little bit backwards, but we've done it before.
We lead in that follow.
Was there a second? Well, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or comments?
Just, do you anticipate contacting some of these other county councils also to
Or city councils.
lend assistance?
The center is in LaPorte County.
Right.
So as far as going to Pulaski County or Stout County, no, we would not. We would be getting local foundations and approaching them, and also the city of Michigan City.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
My question would be that we 50,000 now. You're raising money from, let's say, the city and so forth, and you're 50,000 short. That doesn't prohibit you from coming back and asking, because we have money in that ARP fund that has to be designated by December 31st of 24, but doesn't have to be spent until December 31st of 26. So I believe that I would support this motion and vote for it as long as we're not putting a restriction that they can't come back and ask for the other 25 or 50 or whatever in the future.
No,
Absolutely.
no restrictions.
Love to see the project done, so.
Okay.
We just want to give that nudge.
Right. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment, anybody from the, I'm sorry. Good evening.
Spoke too soon.
You didn't have to stop. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brett Kessler, 4189 West, State Road 2, resident of Scipio, property owner in Springfield and Galena Townships, LaPorte County. I guess I come to you on twofolds tonight. I'm going to back up what Mr. Parkman said in the first public comment. I'm a member of PCARET, which is Purdue Council on Ag Research, Extension, and Teaching. We're the oversight and legislative branch of Purdue Extension in LaPorte County, in the state, and the nation. Thank you very much for the actions, both this council, the commission, Senator Bahacek, and Representative Pressel have taken. It's kind of unprecedented throughout the state. We had issues. Mr. Parkman and I were speaking earlier. It goes back to 2017 when our emails first started on this subject. So I thank the council very much for the actions that have been taken on that part. The second part of why I'm here, I'm also representing the LaPorte County Ag Association. We are the founders of what run LaPorte County Fair. As all of you know, we've spent a lot of money to upgrade and promote that area. We like to look at it as our county's largest county park. Coming by there tonight at 5:30, there were probably 30 cars out there with people walking dogs, riding bikes, walking. It's a great facility. For those of you that don't know, a couple years ago, we took down the restrooms on the north end of the fairgrounds that were located near the old racetrack barn and the grandstands. Without those, during fair, we spend an exorbitant amount of money to replace those. We're kind of coming to the council tonight to ask for funding
Just for that spot.
for a new restroom at that location. That would not only benefit us during fair, but would benefit the FMEC during any events they have out there. Would benefit our subsidiary of Pioneerland during whether it's a winter event, summer event, spring event, when they have kids out there. Instead of having to run them 600 feet back to the restroom near Commercial 1 in the Goat Building, or Commercial 2 in the Goat Building, we'd have a restroom right there for people to use. During fair, we've made do the last few years, but we are asking for an improvement there. That's ask number one. Ask number two is for upgrade in the campground. Many of you know that in the last few years, we've had great success in promoting the campground out at the fairgrounds. That's thanks to funds that have come through the county and working with FMEC to have that campground rented probably 9 to 10 months out of the year, as long as it's not cold. As soon as we can get the water on, we have campers out there, and as early as we need to shut it off, we shut it off. But there's still some electrical upgrades that need to be done on those rows that we've improved the water on in order to have that a 365-day-a-year campground. With all the electrical infrastructure going in around, with all the solar, these are very sought after spots. And if we could have those facilities available 365 days a year, between FMEC and LaPorte County Ag Association, we could make it a win-win with the help of the council. And then the last ask is that the speaker system on the fairgrounds has been privately owned for many, many, many years. So if the person that owns those speakers is not available, there is no PA system. And while this seems like a big ask, I would remind everyone that the fairgrounds is a county-owned property. LaPorte County Ag Association spent $310,000 on a new barn that we put up in 2019, and when that building is paid for, that belongs to the county of LaPorte. We would be willing to help on the restroom structure, and anything outside of that we'd have to discuss, but that's kind of where we're at tonight. So at this time, I would entertain any questions from the council.
Anybody have any questions? Go, Mr.
I know that we talked just a little bit, and there's always discussion that it may not be enough to, you can't do all in one spot, one time, that there's consideration of doing this
Correct.
for an extended period of time, so that a larger commitment could be made towards the improvement. And we've also talked, I know from being on the FMEC, I know that we've also talked with leadership and members of Pioneer Land to see if there's something that they might be able to contribute. I'll just, not putting anybody on a spot on that side of it or any other person, I just want to make sure everybody also understands that this is a multi-year commitment, because it's a savings if you don't have to spend X amount of dollars for porta-johns.
Correct.
With inflation, because it's constantly going up every year.
At this time, the Ag Association would be comfortable with at least a 5-year commitment of between $4,000 and $5,000 per year to helping to pay for the erection of said restroom facilities on the north end, next to the EMS building and just south of the grandstand.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I'd just like to say we've already put over $1 million into the fairgrounds this year. We put up $600,000 on the grandstands. We spent over $300,000 in paving, and then our agreement that we agreed back in 2018 of $250,000 every single year. So what exactly is the commitment that you're asking over a 5-year period? You're asking us to pay for all three items?
At this time, it's, as you know, it's county-owned property. We do not have the right to say what the structure is going to look like. We are just here to say we're in support of putting a structure up there. I would also like to remind the council that due to the condemnation of the grandstands earlier this year, we are now out as an ag association $30,000 for that week for portable structures, for seating, whether it be for entertainment, whether it be for horse and pony, whether it be in the livestock arena.
But I just want to state you're out $30,000 because the bleachers were not safe.
Correct.
And those,
correct. So
those bleachers were actually condemned.
they were
Those belong to the fair board.
to the fair board. Correct.
Correct. That was not county property.
But that's an additional expense that we've had.
Right.
So while we appreciate everything that's gone on, these are the asks, and I know asks are hard. Everybody here tonight's here for an ask, so that's what we're here for tonight.
So I guess to answer your question,
What is the dollar amount?
so how do you put a dollar amount on what the most
I believe that'll be coming.
What is I think the
From the Ag Association, is that what your question is, ma'am?
No, she wants to know how much the bathrooms. They're on the agenda tonight for $20,000 for the engineering of the bathrooms, and there's $22,000 for the engineering of the electric. That's what they're here for. So, and then the $60,000 for the sound system. That is installing the sound system completely
And maintaining it.
and that's with fiber to everything so that it's done. how do you say what's a cap on what we're gonna spend on the jail? I mean, it's a county property. How do you say we're not gonna improve it anymore? We just gonna do this and we're
Here
done?
Of a county, and I'll talk about it more with the liaison, once we get to the liaison part. But, we have bathrooms here that are actually missing a sink and have been missing a sink here in the building where we have employees that use our facilities.
Where's the department?
Is that the
It's
fairgrounds?
falling apart. I mean, so
Where's the department head for that?
again, I'm the liaison. They've asked me to come in and talk about this. So,
Did you bring it up with the maintenance director?
but my point is,
Did you bring it
that
up? I asked you a
my
question.
point is that I understand we own that piece of property, but we also own the courthouse. And the courthouse, I'll pass around the photos, are in very bad shape.
That all came from a department head? That stack of photos?
It's one packet.
Oh, I'm sorry, I apologize.
I did
Is it-
seven for each one of us.
Is this pertinent to me?
No, not at all.
He's just a little bit ahead because we're waiting on Larry. I wish Larry would have came first, but
Well,
thank you.
I'm here during
Thank
public
you,
comment,
Brett.
so does anybody else have any questions for me tonight? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Brett. Thank you. Anybody else from the public who would like to speak?
Good evening, council members. I'm going to take off my chief deputy hat tonight and put on my hat as president of the board of directors for Stepping Stone Shelter for Women. Email was sent to you guys with the letter. Did you guys receive that email and that letter? Everybody should have received a copy of it.
Anybody not receive the letter?
Thank you. It's more of a refresher.
Thank you.
I'll take one as well.
Thank you. Just like everybody else before you tonight, we're also here with our hands out and going to ask for you guys' assistance to help us out. Stepping Stone is obviously a shelter for women and now for men. We are one of the largest in the state, and we are funded entirely based on grants and donations. The grants and the donations cover the operational costs. However, the maintenance costs are creeping up on us and causing us some problems. And with COVID, that has kind of put even a further burden on the financial with Stepping Stone. With me tonight, to my right, your left, is going to be our interim director, Deb Varnack, and I'll turn it over to her.
Right. Thank you, Ron. As he said, we're here. Oh, I got him over here. As he said, we're here tonight to talk about Stepping Stone Shelter for Women. As you're aware, it's the only domestic violence shelter serving the entire county of LaPorte. It is located in Michigan City. We also offer services to community residents that are not staying with us, that may just need help with different things but aren't ready to come for shelter. And we have a transitional housing program with 15 apartments. Right now we have 32 people in our shelter, which can house 42, and we have 9 of our 15 transitional apartments that are filled. We also do outreach and community education throughout the entire county. And what I'm here today is to ask for $150,000 in 2 installments for operating funds from the ARPA funds as well. Our shelter continues to safely house and offer programs and case management for those fleeing violence and sexual assault. However, our current operating and maintenance fees are beyond what we can financially handle right now. Our costs are very large, and as Ron said, COVID did impact our fundraising ability and some of the events we were able to have, and we continue to see high numbers of census within our shelter. We are very lucky to have several great community funding partners, and we do get grants from the state. However, our state grants are all reimbursable, which means that you have to spend the money up front and then be able to get reimbursed later, and our cash flow is making that very challenging. We're really at crossroads right now and facing some financial difficulty. Our board is very engaged and active. We're working very hard on a strategic plan and a vision for the future of Stepping Stone. We'll be 40 years old next year. Our building shows 40 years of use with very little maintenance. But we do want to come together and come up with a vision, a plan to make sure that this critical service stays very strong in our community. I'm the interim director. I haven't been there a long time. And I will tell you that I was shocked at the amount of traffic, the number, today I took the phone calls and the number of phone calls, the amount of advice, the amount of support we give, not just to residents, but persons in need in the community is very important. And I just ask for your support in that. What questions can I answer?
Any questions or comments?
Mike?
Would it be acceptable for you to get money over a period of time?
Stop it.
I was hoping for 2 installments, one this year and one next year. We need operating funds to help us as we are developing our future vision. And then as we put that vision in place, we know that we'll need funds to help us with that as well.
Any other questions or comments?
You understand that, I think I just answered this for a previous person at the podium. We don't have to allocate the ARP funds until December 31st of 24, so you could come back in 23 or 24. But you have to get it allocated by December 31st of 24 for 25 and 26. Okay?
Thank you.
That's one of the arguments I've made all along, is that there were a lot of people that wanted to spend all that money in the first year. And I said, if they wouldn't have given us this money all the way to 26, if they didn't expect us to spend some of the money up to 26, if they wanted us to spend in the first year, they would have said that, made the deadline a lot shorter. I think it's been financially prudent on this council's part to preserve some of that money, because your expenses aren't going down in 24 or 25, probably.
Correct, yeah.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And what we really want to do is make sure that as a board and as an agency that we're being very planful, that we're assuring that these services stay strong and available to those in need in our community, which is why I asked for it in 2 installments, thinking that knowing that we can count on that helps us with our planning very well. That doesn't mean that I wouldn't be happy to come back another time.
Mr. Rosenbaum.
I'd like to make a motion of support, and I do want to do it over an extended period of time. I'd like to do it over 3 years of $50,000 each year. However, we still need to go to the commissioners and get their approval in order to put this as part of the ARP program that they put forward to us. And that is my motion for now.
Very much
Anybody else would like to?
Seconded by motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Cunningham. Any other questions or comments?
Question, is it proper to vote on something that I'm not even gonna be on this council after this year, so should you just keep it to 1 year?
Well, right now, it's just a motion to support, so.
Just a motion of support, right?
No appropriation, so.
Okay,
So we can rethink that if they can get the approval from the commissioners.
all right.
It'll come back again for the appropriation. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public?
Thank you. Which hat are you wearing? Okay.
Yeah. Look like a sheriff's hat to me.
Sure looks like one of me too.
Yeah. Anybody else from the public? Anybody else from the public? Anybody else from the public? Public comment is now closed. Wait, what? Anybody on Zoom? Okay.
You're good?
Did you want to talk now, Lisa?
Well, I didn't know if I'm supposed to talk now or they added it to number 10 on the agenda, so I wasn't sure. So I gave everybody the report that's current. Vaughn has the information for each one. As you can see, we're down to $9,802.01. I did receive more evictions again from Cool Spring Township area, some of the apartment complexes. Normandy's still not working with us, so those, can't do anything about those. But I'm not sure where we're going from here, because I don't know with, the recession and cost of food and everything else. I did talk with the attorney today, and I had talked with Randy at a couple that we will not be funding, and that's because one of them, they were working and then they weren't working during COVID, but they were receiving the extra $600 plus their amount, so they were bringing home $900 a week, and they decided to go buy a brand new car. So now they have a car payment, insurance payment on top of the rental that they were struggling with in the first place. So talking with the apartment complex, they are recommending that they break the lease and try to find something more reasonable. So that one won't be funded. I have another gentleman that came in and hasn't paid the rent for 3 months, and he's raising 5 siblings, but my problem is when they came in the first time, there was 4 adults in the house and 6 kids. Now there's 1 adult and 5 kids in less than 30 days. So I'm not sure what's going on with that application, but he's not working enough to be paying the rent moving forward. So there again, it's probably going to be a recommendation to break that lease and find something more reasonably priced. But, you know, when we first came about this was, you know, to do with COVID and stuff like that. But now we're going to be getting into recession and stuff. So I just kind of need guidance on what you guys feel we should be doing moving forward, because this is eviction funding.
Mr. Yagowski.
I know, Lisa, we're going into recession supposedly, or so-called. But as of right now, employment is not a factor. Anybody who wants to work can work right now. I can tell you. So I'm not willing to say as a council right now, we're going to even, in my opinion, that's my opinion only, that we're even going to talk about that right now. Our original goals, what you did, and I think you did a great job. I commend all of the departments that did it. I'd be willing to support it, but we're not in a situation where if anyone wants to work, let us know. We're trying to find people in the county.
Well, and that is one of the stipulations, you know, when they're calling in, that's the very first thing I say, you know, are you working? If they say no, and I said, well, that is one of the stipulations that you must be working because you must be able to pay your next month's rent. If not, then, you know, that's the problem. But we also have judges here tonight too, so I don't know, you know, how we want to discuss this. Like I said, I saw you added it to the agenda, so I'm not sure what direction you were going.
You were added to the agenda for possibly if you needed more funds in there. I just want to commend you. I think you're doing an excellent job on scrutinizing and policing and doing exactly what the council had asked you to do with the funds that we gave you. I mean, it's obviously you're not just willy-nilly giving them out.
Well, and it's getting difficult. So I know you'll be receiving phone calls that I'm not funding somebody, and that's why, you know, I wanted to make sure you guys understood, and that's why I went and met with the attorney today, because, you know, some of them are getting a little upset that, you know, they're not going to.
At least even without COVID, we've got these in the past. Other people, if you've done your job, we've got these phone calls before. But
Okay.
It is what it is. It's just you know, nobody's gonna be happy.
I mean, I don't want to see anybody out on the street. I mean, that's the whole reason is, you know, to keep people from being homeless. But
there's rules.
They've got to do their part too. And, you know, we had a couple come back to some of the townships, and, you know, the trustees have called and said, okay, you funded them before. They're back in the same boat again. And I'm like, okay, you know, I did budgets with them. I helped them, you know, get rid of this and this. If they didn't follow through, I'm not sure what more I can do.
How much do you have left in your county fund?
9,800.
9,800.
98, yeah.
Or 98.
Are you using some of that? A little bit. I mean, here and there.
We've used a little bit for my township. And this last one, I had one for Michigan Township too that you guys gave me permission to do. But a lot of it's Cool Spring and some of the, you know, the other townships. So we've had, like I said, we've had a couple in Center Township, Maple Tree Apartments in LaPorte. I know we've been doing a lot of negotiation with the landlord and stuff. So
I think we have $11,000 left in our account, correct, Fawn? We talked about that, so.
Do you need the additional funding now? Or do you want,
I think I'm
it's
okay.
now, or do you wait a month?
I think I'm okay right now.
Okay.
I mean, I kind of want to see, but I just, you know, I wanted to explain what's going on and, you know, trying to feel out, you know, we have $11,000 left. Where are we going from here? So.
I too want to compliment you for investigating these cases and not just, as Randy put it, not just a free handout and looking into each case, and you and your staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, Elisa?
How much have you drawn from the original balance?
How much have we given you?
Well, I started with 25, and then I got another 25, so that's 50, and then 9, so 59, and then 11, so 70.
And we had designated 100,000, didn't we?
Right, Michigan Township got 20,000 and there's $10,000 left. So that equals 100.
That's what I was trying to account for. The
Yep.
Michigan Township is not shown on this list.
I just the one that I funded, and that was
The
an
last-
emergency.
The last report we got from Michigan Township, they hadn't expended any of the county's funds, so they didn't give us a report, so.
Just real quick, have you got a chance to use community action? Okay.
I'm actually on the board, so
On the board, okay.
we work with them
All
also.
right, great, thank you.
Any other
Make a
questions?
motion to approve the balance of $10,000
I think it's 11,000.
or 11,000.
She said she didn't need it right now, though. You wanna do it anyway?
Do it anyway, instead of making
Yeah,
it come back
second.
here all the time.
Motion by Mr. Cunningham, second by Mr. Graham Morosa to give the balance of $11,000 to the Center Township trustee. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
And we can take number 10 off our list
Thank you.
later on. Anybody else from the public? Anybody else from the public?
Yep.
I thought we were done.
State your name, sir.
Michael Seitz, 212 Lakeside, Walkerton, Indiana, or Fish Lake. Years ago, the county commissioner appointed myself and Justin Keel to represent LaPorte County on the US 30 coalition. And at that time, when we attended the meetings, I don't want to speak for Justin, but we felt that we needed to be at the table. We need to have our voice heard at the table when they're talking about US 30 improvements or what they're going to do there. And to be quite honest, it was sort of embarrassing to go to meeting after meeting and being constantly asked where was the funding.
You know, we funded that.
Yes,
Okay.
but I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the allocation
All right.
of the $12,000 that's on the agenda.
I just want to make sure you're aware.
Yes,
right.
so that's why I'm speaking
Okay.
in favor of it. So,
Great.
because we need to be at the table, and again, I'm glad that we funded it and that we need to.
I agree, and it sounds like it's starting to
Yes,
pick up a little speed,
so that's all.
Besides, you agree with the old adage that if you're not at the table, you're probably on the menu, correct?
Exactly, and we realize that the state's going to do what they're going to do, and we needed to be there to be able to let them know how we felt about the US 30 coalition. So
Have they, I appreciate you reporting that and letting us know that you feel that it's been very beneficial. Have you had any encounters where you, during the meetings that stopped any type of action? Or?
no, again, I haven't been on the commission for a few years. When I left the chamber and retired, I retired from all aspects of public life until I came back out of retirement.
But you've been attending those meetings?
No, I have not. But
I think Tony is.
Tony has, and I think it's Justin. Maybe Justin still
Justin
is.
is too.
Yeah.
All right.
So, but I just wanted to put my 2 cents in on that.
Great.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Public comments now closed. Department head report. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, and you?
Good, thanks. Lynn Swanson, LaPorte County Coroner. Last month at the meeting, we discussed changing my position from part-time to full-time with pay commensurate to that. And it was asked whether or not that could be considered under the lit. And I said I thought not, because we're not considered until July 2023. I just got this today, and if I could, if you'll note the date on this, this is, coroners are considered as of July 2022 as first responders. What they're doing in 2023 is not considering, but giving deputy coroners and coroners the hazard pay, I guess, no, the death benefit pay. So, now that I've sat through my third meeting to try to request that this be changed, I'm asking again for that. As I said before, this is a 24/7 job, 365 days a year. Like every other department, my department is down as well. I now have 1 chief and 4 deputies, which is forcing me back out on the road. I'm actually on call tonight, so if you hear the toner go, it's me. I gotta leave. I'm in the office 5 days a week, plus taking call 24 hours at a time. I've been doing this for quite some time now. I actually had a conversation with a previous coroner back in 1992. She made $13,000 a year less than what I make now. And I make $30,958 a year. So in 30 years, the coroner's salary has only raised $13,000. I don't think that's keeping up with anything, even as a part-time position. I said last month that the hours I'm working, based on the lower amount of 60 hours per week, I'm making $10.75 an hour. That's not even a living wage for anyone. I had asked that my salary be raised to $60,000 per year, which would come out using 60 hours as a base, because I'm not going to work any less. The job is not going to slow down. Would make it $20.83 an hour. I don't think that's an unreasonable amount. In the information that I had given you last month, I cited the IC code that after the first year, I could ask for an increase. And this is now the second year, so I'm here again. So I would like for you to consider that tonight. Also, I want to thank Larry Lewandowski. We've had a cracked window in our office. Well, it's not cracked, it's almost gone. And they're coming next week, Tuesday, to replace that window. So we're happy about that. And as I said before, our numbers are not slowing down at all. We're up to 278 calls already. So we're going to surpass last year's numbers. And any deputies that I'm trying to hire now aren't going to do us a whole lot of good by the end of the year.
How many deputies do you have?
I have 1 chief and 4 deputies. Normally we have 1 chief and 7 to 8 deputies.
And they're paid on a per diem basis, correct?
They're paid, yes, they're paid per call.
What's your preference?
Any questions?
Any questions?
On the deputies, they're a contracted amount.
Yes. Well,
you understand, it's
a set amount.
It's a set amount, is what I really meant to say. It's just
right,
a
they're
fixed fee.
considered an independent contractor. They have to pay all their own taxes, take care of all of that out of what they're paid.
That's all.
In fact, I just paid a deputy for last month's calls because we have been so busy. He made twice what I made last month. Which is disturbing in more ways than one.
So this is one of these situations that we've been going meeting after meeting and after meeting talking about this. She's making $10, less than $11 an hour. I made a motion last meeting. Nobody wanted to second it. So would you at least consider sending it to the review board and seeing what they think the
That's not-
position?
That's not a review board thing. For a department head, no. No.
And she's an elected official, so.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just want to make one statement here. You were elected as a part-time official.
Okay.
And you are eligible to work a full-time job elsewhere if you wish, just like the county council or the commissioners. I just want to make that statement, so,
Okay, I could do that
yep.
if I wanted to do half the job I'm doing now.
Only $8,000.
This job, because of the amount of deaths in this county and the amount of things to deal with regarding those deaths, can no longer be done on a part-time basis. Like I said before, back in 2008, there were 96 deaths for the whole year. That's a part-time job. 400 a year is not a part-time job. It's just, you can't get it done. Plus deal with coming to council meetings, seeing the commissioners, sitting on the boards that I sit on, you know, the drug task force, opioid fatality review, child fatality review. None of these things can all be done in a part-time amount of time. So I don't have time to get a job, is what it boils down to. I mean, I could.
Well, you're not doing it for the pay, you're saying because of all the hours that you're putting in. I mean, it's, what you're looking for is a fair,
I'm
a
looking to
fair
get paid-
wage
right.
for the hours that you're putting in.
Exactly. I think Mr. Cunningham said at the last meeting, Bubbles is paying $20 an hour to scoop ice cream. Maybe I ought to just quit this job and go to Bubbles.
You ran for the job, I understand.
Okay,
Mr. Rosenbaum.
I'd like to make a motion that we increase your pay to $45,000 and make you a full-time employee. Not, well.
So that's less than $15 an hour, and an entry-level employee here who doesn't have near the responsibility. that
It's $15,000 more than what you're currently making.
I know that, I can.
So there's no magic on this yet. And I'm having a lot of resistance here, so that is what I thought I could get across.
That would include health benefits, obviously.
There's a motion, what's that?
Full time, it has to.
Full time would
Yeah, well, somebody has to second
I
it
get
first.
benefits now.
You get benefits?
I get benefits now.
So
Yeah.
being a part-time, so the benefits isn't the issue.
So-
So it's just a motion of $45,000. Is there a second?
I'll say,
Seconded by Mrs. Grammarosa. Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mrs. Grammarosa to increase the pay to $45,000.
Can we clarify that? Are you assigning the $45,000 next year to the elected official position of coroner? Because
I don't think we can do anything in the current year.
Right,
Correct.
and you're making it full-time, or
No.
the position is what it
It,
is?
it doesn't matter, it's benefits either way.
It's a benefit, so there's no,
So I will restate it to just be an increase to $45,000 beginning 1/1/23.
and the reason is we cannot increase elected officials' pay in the calendar year that we're in.
Right, and I understand that.
Right. So, all right, we have a motion and a second. Is there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Motion passes.
We have one nay.
Thank you.
Who abstained?
Garner's
Oh.
not up here.
Terry says he voted aye. Say aye, Terry. Aye. There you go. All right.
I know.
Other department heads.
I know.
Mr. President, members of the council, Tony Rodriguez, Director of Community and Economic Development Department. Just very quickly wanted to point out, we of course had made the council aware of the fact that through the Third Time's a Charm grant proposal successfully supported 3 firms that will be significantly expanding their broadband infrastructure in LaPorte County. So on October 7th, I wanted to bring it to the public's attention that on October 7th, we will be hosting an event that we've titled Connecting LaPorte County's Future, a look at the broadband of tomorrow. And that will start at 9 a.m. on October 7th. We fortunately will be hosting some executives from the companies that were successful in securing that funding, and they will be going into significant detail about where that infrastructure is going to be laid out. So I'm certain the public will be very excited to hear from the media that will report this success. So we would love your support, would love your attendance at that event, and thank you.
Thank you.
I do know I have one item on the agenda coming up.
I think you're last.
Would there be any possible I would refrain from
Well-
any further reporting at the moment if you'd consider maybe.
It's the $12,000 out of the lit for the South County.
Correct.
The
The US 30
corridor.
Coalition.
Yep. Motion by Mr. Cunningham, second by motion by Mr. Gowski, seconded by Mr. Cunningham. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you very much for your support.
Thank you. I just want to state to the, if there's anybody here from the sheriff's department that thinks we're going to vote again tonight, it's not my intention that we vote again tonight, because it's all gets carried over and we vote on the 100 accounts all at one time. So if you can, you're more than welcome to stay. We enjoy having this many people here. It's just that doesn't require another vote at this time. Does that make sense? See a bunch of heads? Not, yeah, there you go. All right. All right, department head. I just wanted to say that because I thought maybe you guys you're serious. Hi.
Hi, Amanda Laners, Health Department. I am here tonight. Well, first of all, I hope everybody got your emails that we'll be doing employee flu clinics starting next week, Thursdays 1 to 3 in both LaPorte and Michigan City. We do have
next
the
week?
Yes, next Thursday 10/6. Gosh, it's gonna be October. And then we'll do them again on the 27th of October.
I have one question. Is that the COVID/flu that they have available now?
No.
So they're two separate shots. We do have the bivalent COVID shot that's available that just came out. We do those on Wednesdays only because that's a multi-vial. And once we puncture that vial, we have to use it within 6 hours or we lose everything. So we try to keep that contained.
Are you doing that by appointment?
By appointment on Wednesdays.
Okay.
Yes. And then, then the flu shot's a separate thing.
Thank you. But that's not why you're here.
No, it's not, but I thought I'd
We're
share.
gathering information, that's all.
It's my pleasure. Last year I came to you asking for a permission to purchase a mobile van to do clinics throughout the county. Since that time, first of all, it's been extremely difficult to get those vans. Right after that, they became unavailable to purchase, are very difficult to find. And I think one of those reasons is because they're blue and they're traveling all over the county. They say Amazon on the side. But since that time, we came into received a very large grant. And under that grant, we are able to purchase a trailer. So our hope is to purchase a mobile trailer. It's an incident command. It's self-contained. It has a restroom. And solar power generator. We can set it up out in the field and leave it for a week or more and not have to drive it home every night.
You have a truck to pull it with?
I do not have a truck to pull it with, so I do have money for the grant to pay in the entirety for the trailer and everything that comes along with that except for the truck. So instead of the van, since that money's already been set aside, I'd like to use that to purchase a truck to tow the trailer, and then also that truck could be used daily by my inspectors throughout the county that have to go off-road at times.
We're just giving permission, so that's an easy one, right?
Yeah, if it's the same amount of money.
Well,
It's actually looking to be less than what the van.
I think it was $60,000 for
It
the
was not to exceed 60,000,
Yeah.
and it won't exceed
So-
that at all.
I have a question. When do you expect, if you order a trailer now,
It's a 6-month build time.
okay, so you wouldn't need even a truck until close to that 6-month build time?
Correct. So that gives me time to find that vehicle.
Just make sure the truck's big enough to pull the trailer that you're.
Yes, it requires a 3/4 ton truck.
Okay. All right.
Woof.
Okay.
Not having that drive around the county.
Does anybody have any issue with that?
No.
Is that a motion?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to
Support
support
the purchase of the
Second.
truck.
the purchase of a truck and the trailer.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, seconded by Councilwoman Gray Morosa. Is there any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you very much.
And you're gonna get us something on the nurses' pay for our next meeting? You send that out to everybody?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yep.
Greatly appreciate it. Any other department heads? Any other department heads?
Mr. President, behind Steve. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Mike Callahan, Assistant Director of the LaPorte County Juvenile Services Center. I've got three things tonight. First off, our cameras have been installed, and we can see the whole building now. It's fantastic. I can go back and do investigations on restraints or weird things that seem to happen in the building, so that's great. They are so clear, we can take the zoom camera and read somebody's seat covers in their car from across the parking lot. It's amazing. Yeah, and that was the face I had too, sir.
So stay out of the juvenile center parking lot.
Yes, sir. The second thing I had, I was asked to get clarification on whether our registered nurse position was moved from a PAT 3 to a PAT 5. Nobody seems to know.
That came from HR as a recommendation.
Right.
At the last budget hearing I was at, I had to step out to find something, and when I came back, I asked about it, and somebody said, no, we already talked about that. So I was just getting clarification on that.
Monique? With those increases, did we bump the nurse in out of the juvenile center?
It was approved in our meeting. I'm sorry, Monique Thomas, HR, interim
Thank you.
HR director.
Right.
We did vote on it in our meeting. However, we had a question about it. Was it passed? And I believe we got our answer that it was not passed through the council yet.
But if we went through the budget hearing and it was approved in the budget
It's
hearing,
not included in the budget.
so when did we vote?
We did.
That's the
That's
question.
what we were.
We
That's
did.
what I was trying to find out.
I think we did.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, you got support coming behind you.
We're both on the committee also,
Union.
along with
Union.
Councilman
Union rep.
Mullenhour. It was passed in our committee.
Right.
Oh, that's where the
Not
vote took
passed.
place.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Yes, that's what we
I-
voted in our insurance meeting,
Right.
and we were waiting for the approval from,
So what happened at the budget hearing, to refresh my memory?
I was not in attendance.
So when I was on Zoom with you all, I had to go out and get something for you. When I came back, we solved that issue, and then I asked, hey, could we talk about the nurse? And I was told, and I went back and looked at the video, that it had already been solved, but I didn't see where it had even been talked about.
I don't think it was.
We're gonna have to add it
Yes, next month.
at their next meeting, so.
Okay.
Just make sure you get all that information, send it out to all the council, and then we'll
Yes, sir.
try and get it approved or whatever we're gonna do in October.
Okay. Thank you very much.
At our
sir.
next meeting.
I have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Do we know what the salary difference is between a PAT 3?
Off the top of my head, sir, I do not know.
That's fair?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'll not lie to you. I didn't think to even grab it. I was just.
No, we're good.
I remember,
We're good. We're
I
gonna
remember
put it up.
seeing it during the budget hearings.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. The last thing I'd just like to throw out there is I believe that my people should be included in the raises for the tip funds. We're a 24-hour, or am I saying it wrong?
TIF?
TIF. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We're a 24-hour facility. We are, again, we're low on people like everybody else is. My people are working their tails off. We only have like 3 part-timers that we can rely on to fill the spots. I'm going to answer some of the questions that generally get asked. We're a 24-bed facility, 12 shelter care, and 12 secure. We have 6 in shelter right now and 6 in secure. We also have 6 youth on GPS, 5 in our NOVA program, that's our day evening reporting program, and then we have an educational day reporting program, which we will start having a kid in tomorrow. We have paid out this year $88,921 in overtime. However, for the shelter care side of the building, we receive a per diem per kid per day of $776.75 that we return to the general fund. So to date, we've returned to the general fund $272,801. And today, with 6 kids in shelter care, that's $4,600 returned to the general fund just today with those kids. Next year, they're projecting that the per diem for those kids is going to go up to $952 per kid. So that for those same kids during a 1 day period, that would be a return to the council, to the general fund of $5,700 next year. We are encountering kids that, I don't know how better to say this, that we don't see very often. And now today we have 4 of them. I'd like to give you an example just through 2 of them. But before I do that, I would like to thank Sheriff Boyd and his deputies. Gentlemen, thank you for coming out. We appreciate all of you for coming out to help us, because sometimes these kids, because they have mental health issues, and they are children, ladies and gentlemen, they have impulse control. And when they have a mental health issue, it makes them very, very hard to manage. And we also do not have the chemical or the tasers or anything like that to restrain these children. We're putting our bodies in the line of fire every day with these kids. Since last Sunday, I've sent 5 staff members to the hospital to be examined, myself included. Got head-butted in the face by a child. The other gentleman who was in the restraint with me has his nose broken in 3 places. He's on light duty now and has to go see a specialist to have his nose put back together. This young man that we were in the restraint with has a mental issue. For confidentiality issues, I won't tell you what that is. But he also has a severe medical issue, a physical issue, that precludes him from a lot of places accepting him. He's been with us for quite some time. He has all kinds of impulse control. He just wants to fight people. But because he keeps getting arrested, he comes to us. There's no better place to put him right now. And then my people have to get in his way, or we have to call the sheriff's department to keep him from harming himself or harming other people, or breaking the building, quite frankly. The other young man that we have right now that we are dealing with, we have been dealing with for 200 days. Because of his outbursts, no facility in the state of Indiana seems to want to take him, which kind of speaks to the state of mental health care for juveniles in the state of Indiana. It's lacking. This young man in the past month has been to the hospital 3 times for acute care. A facility down in Bloomington had him. He was able to run through a plate glass window while he was down there. And when my people went to go pick him up, they just pushed him out the door to us. I had to beg them for the paperwork so we could figure out what the heck happened. These are the kind of kids we're putting our people in front of every day. There are 2 other ones, but these are the most significant ones. Now you say you only have 12 kids in the building. Great. But 6 on one side, 6 on the other, and I have to have males and females on both sides of the building. My people are getting tired. They're getting frozen all the time. They're coming in and working extra shifts. And myself and Miss Erica are coming out of our offices now, and have been, to support them. I was involved in 2 restraints last week, and I was in the building on Sunday because I had to send 3 of my people to the hospital. And I was the only male who could make it in. I believe my people work hard. I believe they deserve a raise. And I believe they deserve a raise on par with the other 24-hour facilities. Thank you.
Thank you. Don't forget to send us that about the nurse,
Yes, sir.
please. Anybody? Oh, never mind.
Again, under department head,
Yep.
I just want to reiterate that we need to present a few more job revisions to the council. We have a few more job revisions that's in the pot right now. However, we will be presenting those to the council as well. So I'm not sure if we need to have a special meeting, or is this something that we need to just
So we're gonna talk tonight, but obviously we'd probably have a budget hearing prior to our next meeting in October, and we may need to set one in between here and October too, to get
Okay.
everything done, so.
Okay,
So that's, I was just making a note of that, so.
okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other department heads?
Mr. President, can you hear me?
Who was that?
It's Commissioner Mrozinski.
No.
Oh. Can barely hear you.
Well,
He's muted.
Tony, maybe you can you fix
There you
that?
go.
Tony?
Talk louder.
Okay. I have two things I wanted to bring up. One, I see that you put on the agenda about the drawbridge. I've sat here for this afternoon doing some research on commissioner minutes and council minutes and workshops. If you'll remember, the 21st of July of 21, we had a conversation about the drawbridge. We had met with Marquis. They said there was a lot of things that really needed to be taken care of. The commissioners we had a couple of estimates. One was to replace the bridge, $20 million. One was $30 million. Marquis agreed they could rebuild the bridge over 5 years for $1 million a year. And that's what we went with, $1 million a year. After they looked it over a little closer, they came back and said, it's going to be closer to $1.5 million. There was a couple council members met with them and decided that that's what they wanted to do, the $1.5 million to keep it working. When we had our commissioner meeting, it got pretty convoluted there with arguments about whether the commissioners were allowed to fix our bridge or not and how we were going to do it. And we had made the motion for the $1.5 million, and it was asked by Commissioner Haney, would that $1.5 million be part of the $5 million? And we said, yes, it would be. But the motion was made only for the $1.5 million. You know, Randy, between you and Mark, we've kind of talked about this the last couple of months. We were kind of under the impression or the belief that $1.5 million was going to be every year for 5 years, rather than the $1 million a year that we'd asked for to begin with. Whatever that is, in conversations today with Marquis, they've been out there about every 2 weeks, having to readjust the mechanism that runs the gates and also the tail locks. That we need to do some work on that this winter, and whether this had been approved at the $1 million or the $1.5 million, or whether what the council had voted on. Like I said, going through all this paperwork, I'm not really sure. I do know we got to fix the bridge. The work that they did last year for $1.5 million, that could be erased by an electrical issue. It has to do, it's kind of a complicated situation there. But the bottom line is we need to fix it. So you have it on your agenda to talk about. Be interested to see what you come up with, but we all know we got to fix the bridge. The second thing I wanted to bring up, I wanted to ask the council tonight to consider under old business to revote on the HR position that we had talked about, we've met about. You folks, you are the ones who realize the amount of work in that office with the job postings, job interviews, the reevaluations, the new insurance. We've had discharges, we've had disciplinary hearings, and we have no assistant. Right now, the assistant has been moved up to acting director. So she's kind of doing this by herself. We need a vote to hire Monique Thomas as full-time HR director so that she can put out the bid for an assistant so we can get the office back up to 2 people that we need. There's an awful lot of work going on in there for one person, and it's just not right. I think you can check with your attorney, but I believe you can bring that up under old business to revote on it. So that's the 2 things I wanted to bring up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark, can I ask a question to Mark or to
Rich? Yeah.
Rich, can you hear me?
I'm here.
Okay, did was there anybody that reached out for, as far as applicants since our, that meeting that we had with?
Yeah, we're not getting anybody that wants to come there for a part-time with the knowing that they could be let go as soon as this ever gets voted on.
Did they advertise it?
Yeah, Monique, I believe she did. I believe she's asked, advertised, yeah, we're not finding anybody.
Okay, thank you.
We need to do the right thing.
Any other department heads?
Number one, it's absurd for him to talk about the council revoting tonight because the council doesn't have the authority to hire. It's a joint hire between the council and the commissioners. He should know that. He's
Be a joint meeting.
chaired the meeting. So to bring this up tonight and act like we're responsible for not hiring, that's absurd.
No, you would vote on it tonight, and then the commissioners would also vote on it.
Absolutely
If-
not. That's a joint executive session.
Nothing says we have to all be in the same room to make the vote. You to make the vote, commissioners make their vote, and if you have the majority of the votes, which would be 6, then we're done.
I don't read that interpretation. I don't think it's ever been done that way. Mr. Governor, you've been here a long time.
Well, I can tell you the last time you didn't do it that way, just
Right.
this year. So let's
Thank you.
just be consistent and
So my
get another
recommend,
meeting together
Right.
and do it.
Okay.
my recommendation would be, the commissioners want to throw out a date. If you guys want to meet again in the exec session and then, have immediately followed by a special meeting, if that's your wishes, let us know. So.
I think it was very clear, the vote, that they need to go out and put it out again. And if we need to talk about salary increase or something else, then let's have that discussion, but just don't
That
say
would be
it's
an
on our
exec-
fault.
that would be
So
an
let's do it
exec.
in an exec session then.
Right.
And I would like to see if it was advertised. I'd like to see that advertisement.
Thank you.
Any other department heads?
Yes, Mr. President, Joey.
Yes, Mrs. Winsky.
Joey Winsky, Treasurer of LaPorte County. Excuse me, I wanted to piggyback on Lisa's statement. You know, the Indiana Finance Housing Authority has a program whereby Beam Longest and Neff is helping people get their taxes paid. If you're having trouble paying taxes because of COVID, you can contact our office and we can give you, excuse me, the information to contact Beam Longest and Neff. And I think the commissioner's office also has that information, and you can get help with your taxes. I think that I read in the brochure that they also have rental assistance. But please call my office or the commissioners, excuse me, if you need help with that. The second thing is I want to remind people that November 10th is approaching, and that is the due date to pay your taxes. So far, we've received about $5 million in tax payments. But don't miss the November 10th deadline, because although we rescinded the penalties for the spring payments, the fall payment, if you miss it or you're late, you will get a penalty for that. So that's what I wanted to say. If there's any questions
Nope. And that's $5 million for the fall installment.
so far.
Right. I don't want you to
Right.
make it sound like it was all we got all year.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
I think for the spring, we collected about 90 million. But
So-
that's gone, so.
Mr. Rosenbaum.
Mrs. Winsky, while we have you here, it would be good timing to probably bring up what's on the agenda, for the requesting additional appropriation. For a service, you have a service contract in here, and that is to continue to do the bank reconciliation by this service organization.
Yes,
So would you like to just please explain to everybody real quick,
yes. As you all know, the 2020 annual report is still not completed, and that's because we the previous treasurer had some missing information in that annual report. So my office has been, we did a complete audit on 2020, and we thought that we were finished. On July 6th, we submitted to the State Board of Accounts what we had, which was a reconciliation of the year, but it was just done for December. So we had a reconciled year that was complete, but the state board wouldn't accept it, and they told us that we had to go back and do every single month. And it's very, very frustrating, time-consuming, and hard when it's not your work and it's not your numbers that you're trying to fit into each category and tell why it was spent. So we've been working, we're still working with the same person, Damon Sekulis from SEH. The commissioners paid the first $40,000 because of the time constraints with the having to, that we were supposed to, like I said, we submitted it on July 6th. That was our deadline. And now we're hoping that it's not 40,000. It could be though. So I'm asking you to appropriate not to exceed 40,000 so we can finish the year. We're making progress on it, but like I told you, it's very, very hard.
When do you anticipate it being completed?
Well, right now we have a middle of October deadline. So.
What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve her request for $40,000.
Second. Not to exceed 40,000?
Not to exceed.
Motion by
40,000.
Mr. Mullenhour, second by Mr. Gardner, not to exceed $40,000.
Which fund?
ARP,
No,
Riverboat. Do it Riverboat.
He says riverboat.
Yep.
Thank you.
On Riverboat. Okay.
Any other questions or comments?
I'm sorry, which fund?
Question.
Which fund?
To make sure I understand this, we're gonna pay someone $40,000 to do this between now and the middle of October?
Actually, we're doing it with him. We are doing it with him.
But the middle of October is 2 weeks away.
We have been working on this since the beginning of the year. We completed the 2019 audit. We completed that last November, and we immediately started the 2020. But when they're not your numbers and you don't know where they got some of these things, it's very difficult. So that's why we had Damon come in, and Damon has set up a program for us that we're using, and we can go forward with that. In fact, we're trying to do 2021 and 2022 simultaneously so that we're up to date fairly quickly. So
Krinsky, I believe Mr. Cunningham's question was, the middle of October is like 2.5 weeks away. $40,000 for 2.5 weeks worth of work?
Oh, no, we, Damon has been working with us. Well, let's see, we submitted it in July, so he's been working with us since July 6th. And when I talked to the commissioners to see if we could, still use their funding, they're upside down. They're in the negative on their professional services. So that's why I'm coming to you now to get the 40,000.
So was the original 40,000 from the commissioners?
Yes.
So now I'm gonna ask the question again. So it's 80,000 from
That's
July
right.
up to October
From July to
for a consultant, correct?
No, it's not from July. It's actually it started in January. Started in January, and I can tell you that that's consistent with Baker Tilly. When we used Baker Tilly last year, they exceeded the amount that they told us. I don't know the exact amount it ended up being, but I know that it was about $66,000 that we spent initially with them, and it was more than that when the everything was finished.
One last question. Is this Damon? I can't pronounce his last name. Is this the same guy that used to? Is this the same guy that used to work for the State Board of Accounts?
No, Damon Sekulis used to work with Sender and Company, and he works with SEH. Well, you recognize his name because he does our budgets also.
Gotcha.
Does work for my office.
He does work for your office also?
The budget related.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
5-2.
Two nays.
McComb, 5-2. Any
Thank
other? Thank you, Ms. Winsky.
What fund, please?
What?
What fund?
It was at a riverboat.
Thank you. One you got.
Yeah. Thank you. Any other department heads? Any other department heads? You better walk faster, Mitch. Somebody's gonna jump in front of you again. You started up here 4 times today.
Fifth time's a charm, I think.
Yeah.
Mitch Bishop, County Planner. I came before this board in November of 21. I was seeking a DNR Next Level Trail grant, and part of the application was a commitment letter that had to be signed by the board. Back in March of this year, received notification we received the grant, and I'm just asking that that money be appropriated now as part of the commitment that was made in November. For the
And for
project.
the public sake, explain exactly what that grant's gonna do.
Well, there's 2 separate grants, or actually there's 3 separate grants. There is a NERPC grant that's about $2 million. There's a LaPorte Health Foundation grant, it's $300. There is money from Purdue, an amount of $25,000, and LaPorte County Parks Board, and basically that it's a 3-mile trail extension from 350 South, just north of New Durham Estates, west of 421, along the Monon. So it goes north on the Monon, north to 200 South. Keeps on going north, kind of by Kessling's, just south of there. Then turns easterly into just west of 421, and it ties into the second light, or the south light, entering into P&W. It's around a 3-mile extension. This would pay for the 1-mile extension. Originally, it was supposed to cut short of Kessling's. It's a huge ravine, and a lot of clearing that had to be done, and a lot of wetland mitigation. So basically what this grant would do would push us away from that and go around it. The issue, and also would add another mile to the trail.
Since this is coming up later, I'd like to bring it up now. Under the LaPorte County Planner, the additional appropriation, I'd like it to come out of ARP funds because it's a quality of life issue. And that's what the ARP funds were for $304,000 to match the IDNR Next Level grant.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Ms. Graham Rosa. And it's our portion of the match.
This is their grant match. It's a total of 1.1, I think 1.180,000.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here for you, Vaughn.
Any other department heads? Any other department heads? Hearing none, department heads close liaison reports. Mr. Cunningham.
Mr. President, in fact, it's 7:42 and we're still on liaison reports. I'm going to waive.
Same here, Mr. President.
Mr. Rosenbaum.
I just have one thing I want to address. I'll skip a lot of it. But it's regarding the RDC. One of the things that happens, the RDC helped 39 North Conservancy on getting a grant or trying to get a grant. They failed to get the grant, and we turned around and said, why not? And we are now investigating why there's been no federal funds coming to this part of the state, and they now have to answer for that. So I just wanted to let you know that we are continually seeking funds and reasons and answers why a project to put in a water tower that would help that area didn't receive any money. So that's the big push right now. One of the big pushes. There's other stuff going on, but we'll stop there. Thank you.
Mr. Gardner.
Randy, be quick. I did visit with the treasurer. She spoke about everything. She left out some details that were probably personal, but anyway, it wasn't her fault. She's just doing what her job requires. Talked with the recorder, no issues. Attended sheriff's staff meeting with you guys, and Randy called me last week and brought me up to date on Purdue Extension, so I appreciate that. And I did talk to Larry about the fairgrounds and so forth. So that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Grammarosa.
I like to pass these out. If you'd like to pass these forward down.
Thank you.
So this has to do with voter registration. And it was approved by this board that we give $15 an hour to part-timers. And somehow, without naming any names, someone has decided to pay a part-timer $30 and $52 an hour for a short period of time, but I believe that this board passed to pay part-time employees between $13 and $15 an hour. And if I remember correct, Councilman Cunningham, you were the one that had made the motion. So I don't understand how they're bypassing what we as a board approved and are able to pay this $30.52 an hour.
I think that's been addressed. I'm sorry. We're not.
You're not?
Rectified?
Okay, good.
Yeah, we're not.
And then the second thing I'd like to have all of you look at are these pictures of the courthouse on the first floor. You know, when we talk about giving our employees raises, you know, sometimes it's not about the money that they make, it's about the quality of life and quality of work conditions. And if you look through some of these pictures, some of these things have been addressed, and then it's just right back to the same way where we have like bubbles all over. I know that they've contacted the director of maintenance, and contractors are supposed to come back, but you know, you've got popping up pieces of carpeting, you have peeling ceilings, holes in the bathroom, you have a bathroom where we're just missing, you know, and again, it's a woman's bathroom, so maybe the guys aren't going in there, but these are things that, you know, have been called upon, and we're just not taking care of it. And a lot of times it's not about how much we're paying the employees, it's also about how the building looks and what they have to live with, what they have to come to work to. And I just think that this is shameful.
This is in the old courthouse, correct?
Yes, it is. But this is an easy fix.
Yeah,
mean,
I
putting
agree.
a toilet-
From everything
putting
I
in-
saw there, it's
putting
pretty
a
easy.
sink in, putting in tiles. I mean, and I understand we put in a lot of money. Over $1 million went into the fairgrounds. And we own those fairgrounds, and we need to do the improvement in the fairgrounds. But we have employees coming to work every single day, and they have to live for 8 hours in these conditions. And wouldn't their morale be so much better if they could have a nice office, a nice bathroom, not have to worry about peeling walls? Wouldn't that be nice for them as well? That's all I have.
Mr. Mullenhour.
Okay, we got two things. On September 14th, I attended the Solid Waste District Joint Board meeting. And on September 21st, I attended the 41st anniversary held at the New Carlisle Cemetery in remembrance of LaPorte County Sheriff's Deputy Neil Thompson, who gave his life in the line of duty. And I just want to thank the sheriff for continuing that remembrance, and hopefully it'll continue on for many, many, many years. So, thank you.
Thank you. I have one item that I would like to ask our attorney, if the council approves, to draft a resolution to support LaPorte County having a more diversified workforce in our county government. So there's no objection. I would like to ask him to look at drafting something prior to our next meeting.
Objection.
Hearing none, thank you. Moving on, correspondence.
We have 3 letters to read for you tonight. Oh, I'm sorry. Mercifully, there is no correspondence.
I'm like, don't be, no. Hey, we'll keep the comedy up here, mister, all right? Ordinances and resolutions, none. First item, consider council president's approval to authorize higher position for LaPorte County prosecuting.
Motion approved.
Second.
Have a motion and motion by Mr. Yagowski, seconded by Mr. Rosenbaum, to replace a full-time person that had retired. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. The judiciary of LaPorte County requesting that 2 employees be moved from administrative user fee fund to the general fund. I'm gonna add, or the lit fund, public safety lit.
I
Good
make a
evening.
motion that we move it to the lit fund, the 2 employees.
We have a motion by Mr. Gardner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rosenbaum. Is there any questions?
Just one quick question, just so that judges know, if you didn't have the lit, we can approve it. We have a steady rule in LaPorte County that once the fund dries up, it dries up. Everybody knows it, so we're willing to go under the lit. That's what we're willing to do.
So I just want to clarify something, having spoke with some of the judges earlier. This was not a grant position. These were not grant positions. These were positions that were paying for out of this user fee. And they had originally, on these 2, and I'm not saying all of them in the past, these 2, they came to us when they started doing it, and we took them out of there. And that fund is only generating about $50,000 a year now. So, and that's about what's in there. So it obviously can't even sustain 1 person now. So these were not originally the grant funds like some of the others.
Is that economic development lit or public safety lit or what?
Public safety.
Public safety.
We don't start getting money until January 1st.
But that's when this goes into effect,
that's
is
what we're
January
asking.
1st.
Okay, thank you.
And it actually could be questionable whether we do that at a budget hearing versus now.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is LaPorte County Sheriff, permission to spend from misdemeanor fund $13,750 for annual warranty for the jail body scanner, and $19,000 for the new washing machine that broke in the jail that they had to replace.
Have the motion approved, both items.
Second by Mr. Yagowski, first motion by Mr. Yagowski, seconded by Mr. Cunningham. Any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item is requesting to spend $8,200 for some firearms.
I made a motion for both of them, but okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read this.
I made a motion for both of them.
All right. So is anybody having a problem? Mr. Yagowski says his motion was for A and B on there.
No.
Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Yes.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you. We just want to play with the guns.
Yeah. Next item is, we're gonna open a public hearing for the Solid Waste District for their 2023 budget. So at this time, do you want to speak before we do this?
Do not. I'm just here in case anybody has any questions.
The budget hearing is now open. I mean, the public hearing is now open. I've got budget hearing in my brain.
I put it there.
Does anybody like to speak on the Solid Waste District's 2023 budget. Anybody from the public that would like to speak?
If I could ask one question. There's an increase in the fee costs, and I know that's contractual. And that was raised last year, actually, when it happened. And so I just want to make note that there has been an increase because of those contractual costs, unless I'm mistaken.
No, it's all part of that.
So that's correct. That's a correct statement.
Correct what he said, yes.
And then this will come back before us again, so this is just for the public hearing.
Right, I'll be back at your October 26th meeting.
Right. Anybody else from the public that would like to speak?
I would too. So along with the state line, this is the same thing that last year, so it's the same question this year. So I talked with numerous restaurants, 20 in all, taverns, so on and so forth. The increase is 10 times the amount in styrofoam. You know, I've had a discussion with you before. You said, well, we're telling them they should use those more expensive ones, but nobody's just gonna do it to do it. What is your group, the group you guys all belong to try to get their legislators, because it's only gonna go through legislation. Nobody's gonna sit there and say, I'm gonna pay $1 something for it, I'm gonna pay $5 for the same thing for a to-go carton. I talked to all of the Cisco and all the representatives, they said it's 10 times since the COVID. That's the increase. But yet, we're not doing anything with it. It's all going into the garbage, which is going, landfill, which is going to you, which is going to the landfill anyway.
And it all breaks down to dollars and cents. The styrofoam folks are making a lot of money on the styrofoam they're selling during the COVID times. They're not gonna do anything to make their product more environmentally friendly because it's gonna cost them more money.
I do agree.
It's cheaper to landfill than it is to recycle, so.
What case is that for all of our stuff? Is it because we don't get any money for glass like we did when we first started this program? We don't get it for the newspaper, paper, all that kind of stuff. That's all been downgraded. Of course, you know, now with plastics, that's totally because of China. That went out the door, and now they're piles and piles of baled plastic now. Where is the benefit eventually going to be with recycling?
Well, we still get our standard fee for recycling. We built that into our contract.
Yeah,
we had a rebate of $84,000 a year for all the recyclables. So no matter if the market's up or the market's down, we still get the same amount of dollars brought back into our.
So the question is realistically, where's the recycling stuff? I mean, is it being is there a market out there for this stuff to be recycled that everybody is going through the motions to try and do, or is it for nothing?
No, it is a market out there for it. And we did learn a big lesson during COVID that we needed to bring back a lot of manufacturing to the United States. That is happening. It's going to take some time. It's not going to happen in a year. But everything that we take curbside is recycled. Now, our curbside program is getting reduced a little bit. We're not taking plastic bags, but we have another outlet for plastic bags. We don't take styrofoam at our collection, but we have another outlet for styrofoam at our collection. So everything we take and everything we advertise, we're putting back into the market.
So what are we advertising to the consumer right now for styrofoam?
We have a collection twice a year.
That's not good enough for a restaurant that's doing multi.
Well, and let me finish. We do that twice a year, but we also advertise if you want to save your stuff, where you can take it to over in Elkhart, and they'll take it free of charge. But now all the Mark Yagelskis in LaPorte County are not going to save their styrofoam and drive it all the way to Elkhart just because it's the right thing to do. I'm just being blunt with you. They're not going to do it unless you come to your door and pick it up. They're not
the money that you're taking, that you received last year, no matter what you give them. Is our stuff just going back into the landfill anyway?
No.
Where's it going?
It's going into the market.
What do you actually have that's recyclable that we're actually recycling? We aren't doing plastics. We're not doing styrofoams.
We are doing plastics.
Which plastics are you doing?
Styrofoam. We're doing plastics we collect 1 through 6, or 1 through 5, and number 7. We don't take number 6. That's the plastic bags. But those we take at our office, and you can take those to like Kroger's or Menards or to Al's, anywhere, and they send them to a recycler.
Plastic bags.
Plastic bags. Matter of fact, we have a program with Trex. Every 500 pounds of plastic bags we collect, we get a park bench made out of plastic bags.
Wow.
Everything is recyclable. We're not going to collect something just to take it and put it in the landfill.
I didn't say that, but I'm also saying that this program's not working because it was the last time I talked to you about it last year. We're encouraging everybody to use the more expensive items to recycle. That's not ever going to happen unless you get your state legislators, and you have a group. I know you do, and I haven't heard anybody go in Indianapolis and talk about these conversations.
We do talk to them, but I'm gonna tell you, and I
talked
don't
to
think it's gonna be a
legislators.
surprise to you, we're not at the top of the list for the state legislators to concern themselves with.
I talked to our state reps, and they said have not heard from any of your reps.
We have a lobbyist and everything down there in Indianapolis. So I don't know what they're telling you, but anytime there's a solid waste issue, we're there.
I.e. styrofoam. We're 10 times what we did just 2 years ago.
And we're offering some avenues for that. You can hold it twice a year, bring it out to our big collections and we take it. Or you can take it to Elkhart.
You guys can't like store it here and then make a trip over there and dump it?
We just don't have the facility for that. Styrofoam is a large, bulky item.
Trying to work out a solution.
Yeah, I would say you don't have it, but you expect me as a homeowner to have it. Mr. Turner, that doesn't make any sense, but okay.
All right. Well, my suggestion is for styrofoam, you take your plastic Tupperware container with you to the restaurant and don't ask them to carry it out, you know?
Hey, but you gotta be practical.
You have to do your part in order for me to do my part.
You gotta be practical.
All right. Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Are you serious?
Next comment right here. Sorry. Because I've been told we run a large scale feed operation, livestock. And we used to bag every number 4 and number 5 bag and put them out there for recycling. And they said, you're wasting your time. Because all we're doing is we're taking it in and we're dumping it back in the landfill. Is that true or is that not true?
It's not true. Unless it's a woven bag. We don't take woven bags in our collection.
They're number 4 and number 5s.
Well, I mean, there's different.
You gotta step up.
Yeah, come up to the.
There's different processes for that, but any woven bags, most of the feed bags, we don't take those. We don't collect them. Though. We tell you we're not taking them.
You take them at no. We would have 5 cans on 300 East. Every one of them would be picked up. And then I'm told afterwards that they go back to the landfill. So we're paying for those. Thank you.
Well,
that's all I need to know.
Every program has a certain amount of contamination. I mean, if it was perfect, you wouldn't even need anybody to run the program.
All right. Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Any other public comments? Public comment is now closed.
Thank you.
See you next month. Thank you. LaPorte County Highway Department requesting to spend $300,000 from their budgeted lit for paving. We talked about this last month.
Correct, yes. I believe.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, seconded by Mr. Yagowski. Any other questions or comments?
I have a comment. And one of the reasons that we discussed is that because we were ahead of the game, and we still had funds left, and while the weather is warm, it's a good time to get this done. We have so many roads that if we can just nail a couple more before the season.
Correct.
It was a good idea, and so that's why you're here in front of us.
So, under this comment, I'm going to bring up a conversation that Dwayne and I had, and I had a meeting with Michigan City, and the issue of Paz Road has come up because Paz Road is absolutely horrible, and the counties pave their section that they normally always pave.
That we maintain.
That we maintain. However, there's different parts that go in and out of LaPorte County because we're talking with the surveyor. So it was discussed to possibly let Michigan City use our bid to pave, and I believe you contacted Reith and Riley. Reith and Riley said it'd be about
About $325,000.
Assuming
roughly.
no culverts or anything, just grinding and paving.
Yes, yes. And that would be also with us assisting in hauling millings.
Or them hauling the mill.
Or whoever, but yes.
But that's with the somebody taking the millings instead of them hauling the millings.
Right.
Right. So I just want to keep everybody up to speed, but I think the date's coming very, very fast.
So yeah, I don't know. Typically, how that works is how everything is laid out with the city. And with other bordering counties and or states like Michigan, like us ourselves, we're responsible for the southernmost part of the county road. If that road is on the border, we maintain that, and then we also maintain the eastern borders. So if there's a road within the south and the east that is like the dividing line, those are the ones that you maintain.
Right.
So typically, now the way it lays out with the city, there's actually that line is right there. So they have to maintain that southern portion right there. So they take that from there all the way to Cleveland. So I mean,
I'm not saying we're paying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it needs to be fixed before
Yeah, that's true. I
know.
I don't really have no say over that. I mean, that's theirs to maintain and
Right.
take care of it. So, however they do with what they
It's something we're trying to work out.
Sure.
Any other questions or comments on item A? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item's request from the MVH, the amount of $5,000 for office furniture for the Rolling Prairie building.
Yes, not to exceed 5,000. We're currently, as you know, as our old facility, very small. There's really nothing in there. Now that we're going to be upgrading a little bit, it'd be nice to have a lunch table, chairs, a desk for the supervisor, a refrigerator. You know, some of the little basic things, but not to exceed 5,000. I've spoken with Larry a little bit too, maybe even see what he has and maybe some leftover desks or something that he has. So we're in the process of that, but we're getting close. We'd like to have some of this stuff come in that we know it's coming, but not to exceed 5,000.
Motion to approve, not to exceed 5,000.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Mullenhour. Any other questions or comments? And then when you guys do make the final move over there, you guys gonna clean up that other site?
The other site,
Yeah.
yes.
Take that,
We've currently been using a lot of those materials over there now with anticipation of the move. But then once, we get everything's finalized, we get the equipment out of there, we get a little better look at that and get that site cleaned up.
thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Dwayne, when's the actual date? It looks like they're getting close.
Right now, currently, I was out there today. They actually have drywall put up in there. We're still waiting on electricity. That's our main holdup at this point. I believe last time I spoke with Larry, I think it's talking within the next week, possibly two. They're supposed to be setting poles and getting electric out there, and it'll once it happens, everything's gonna click right into place. So I think our anticipation now is pretty much close to the end of the year. So hopefully, if we don't have a early winter, we can get that move started already.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is LaPorte County Coroner requesting to spend from non-reverting fund for entomology training.
Motion to approve, not to exceed 1,500.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Cunningham, not to exceed 1,500. Is that? All right.
Should be able to do it for that.
All those.
Class is $975, so whatever 2 hotel rooms for 2 nights cost, that's what it's gonna be.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Would you like to get rid of me for the night?
What else you got?
She's got another one down below for $20,000, requesting additional appropriation from Riverboat or ARP for pay for deputy coroners. And you have 20,000, that's to cover you for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year.
Because of the number of calls this year has been absurdly high, which is what you've spoken about.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a motion to approve it out of Riverboat.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mrs. Graham Morosa out of Riverboat. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too. Todd Elliott from North Shore, Chief Strategy Officer. Update the council on the LaPorte County North Shore Clinic. Well, you picked the wrong night to come, didn't you?
No
Just
problem.
kidding, just
No
kidding.
problem.
It's educational.
Yeah.
Just wanted to hand out marketing materials that we gave to the staff. You guys can see.
Thank you.
One was for the open house and one's just general. There you go.
Thank you, sir.
So first of all, thank you for giving us the opportunity to work with you guys in the county. We've been working with your insurance committee, GIS Insurance, and Mrs. Thomas. And I know some of the Mr. Mohenhauer was out at the facility. So we've been doing this for almost a year, 6 months, really intensely looking at this. And I credit you guys for looking out for your employees and really giving them a great program. And one of the key components of this program is the drug use, the meds that we're giving them and whatnot. And North Shore Health Centers is a federal qualified health center, and meaning we're with the federal government, and it's called 340B drug pricing. And so with that, we're the only, when you have a health system like us, we are internally giving you those drugs at a discounted rate. And so we pass that along to the government. And you guys being government, we work with a lot of schools, municipalities, private businesses. And so we're really excited to work with the county. It's off to a good start. We started in May, and we've seen growth in the 80s. Last month, I think we had 85 scripts filled and almost 60 people. That's all. We share these numbers each week. We have monthly or weekly calls. We had weekly calls leading up and then monthly calls. Now we're up, going to have quarterly calls. And that's with your HR department, GIS insurance, and then your insurance committee. So everything's, we're trying to communicate. As you could see, we sent back in April, we had a piece about the open house, kind of explaining to everybody. We want all the county employees to know about this and feel comfortable using it. If they got any questions, comments, or problems with the program, feel free to reach out to myself or HR department, general insurance, your guys' insurance committee. We're here to help. And so we're really excited about the program. This kind of piece just shows you how to schedule an appointment. The nurse practitioner talks about her, that's the one that they'll be seeing, talks about the pharmacy, talks about transferring prescriptions from North Shore from a specialty group. So meaning if you're at Northwestern and you have problems, you could transfer those drugs, seeing a North Shore doc, and we could get you that savings on your drug costs. So, that's one of our jobs in this community, is to help folks pass those savings along. And I think, again, that's why it's great for your employees. We've had some people already say it's helped them tremendously, because with co-pays and whatnot, you guys are doing a great job of passing that savings on, as the employees can get those meds for free, basically.
Right.
And so I commend you guys for doing that. And we're also working with LaPorte schools, and we've had a good relationship with them. And so one of the other handouts was just kind of a general handout, again, showing you the services that we've given them and the QR codes and how we schedule those appointments and do telehealth visits. One of the things also that we're going to start is DOT physicals. We just got somebody certified that, and the county asked us to, you guys need that service, so we were going to provide that service for you guys as well. So if you guys had any questions, just kind of wanted to come and say thank you, and we're here to help you guys.
Anybody have any questions?
Comment. I really appreciate the fact that you're gonna allow our highway and anybody else that needs to go in for those annual visits, they don't have to travel to Chesterton and pay for them. So that's much appreciated.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
LaPorte County EMS requested motion of support for new equipment to stock the additional ambulances. Do you have a dollar amount on that?
Yes, I do. I'll explain a little bit first, if that's okay. So good evening. So over the last several years, I've been asked on occasion about holding back trade-in ambulances. And this is mainly due to the fact that we get $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 for trade-in ambulances. Usually the ambulances we're trading in are on the verge of literally falling apart. The transmissions, engines are shot. We're just hoping we limp them along to get them to the salesman and get them out the door. So in talking to the mechanics, we have one that we're getting ready to trade in that might be a good candidate to hold back. It's worth rolling the dice on. Could be good for the next year and a half. We use it for non-emergent type stuff, standbys, transfers, whatever we could do that would keep more of the wear and tear off of it, try to get a little more life out of it. The offset price for that was $9,000 for that trade-in. So we didn't know when I went for that whether Ford, because of all the issues, was going to give us a GPC discount. They did kick in a GPC discount that offset about half that cost. The other half I can absorb through our loose equipment, so I can cover the $9,000 to hold that trade. In previous conversations, excuse me, about holding back the trades, we've talked about if I do hold back a trade and put another ambulance in our fleet, I would have to have the expense of totally outfitting that ambulance with, or the new ambulance is coming in with all new equipment. Mr. Yagowski, you and I have talked about that a few times. That cost unfortunately went up a little bit. So right now that cost is $143,509 to outfit all the equipment in that ambulance to put it on the road and make it usable. So with it being so late in the year, I didn't want to ask for that appropriation now and have to try to spend off that money. Plus, a lot of the equipment has long lead times. So I would just be asking for a motion of support, get the ball rolling. Anything that takes a long time to get in, I can get that order placed, and it won't be here until next year anyway. The equipment, come back to you guys in the first quarter of next year and ask for the appropriation. So that's what I'm asking for tonight, with your permission.
Motion of support.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Yagowski. Motion of support. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Question,
Yeah.
where's the donated ambulance at now?
It's at LaPorte. It's in Medic 3's position, so it's been running out of LaPorte. And actually that thing is going on, I think, 6 years old now. So it's getting ready to be put into a backup status here, probably within the next year or so. It'll end up being one of our backups. So we rotate them into our backup status as they get older to keep the wear and tear down on them. So surprised time flies. That thing's already been around
It
for
doesn't
6,
seem
7
like
years
it's been
now.
that long.
Yeah.
One more question. What is the current lead time on new ambulances?
They are taking orders right now for mid 2026 right now. Mid to early 2026. I'm going down to the factory in October, probably in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks from now. And that was going to be part of our conversation is where are we time wise? Where are we? Where do I need to place the next order? 26, 27 era, time frame. So, but it's still out there. It's not getting any better.
Thank you.
So thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the handout I passed out to everybody, the Franklin Street Bridge, and it was emailed to everybody tonight. Just want to bring it to everybody's attention, and then if we don't want to take any action, we can let the commissioners figure something out on it.
I just want to make a comment. We did not vote to do an annual amount.
Correct.
We only did the 1.5 million, and if everybody remembers, it was of a little bit of an emergency status because things went south real fast on those. So if this is where something we need to move forward, I believe it's over the 150,000. We need to go through our bidding process, and I think that we need to continue to spend this type of money to repair the bridge and to keep it operational, so we don't end up the cost of the $120 million new bridge. It's not 20, 30, it's over 120, probably closer to 180 now with the inflation of costs, construction costs being up 40% from 2 years ago. So I like to move forward somehow, but I want to be very careful in the process that we do so that we do it appropriately and that we don't fall into an emergency situation on something that we can plan.
So could you make a motion to pass this on to the commissioners and the attorney, and they can figure out what the best avenue is?
Have them go.
I'm more than happy to make that motion. I thought you would like to, but I'll make the motion to move this back to the commissioners to move forward with the proper process and planning to make this happen.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Yagowski. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next item, old business, first item is, it's community corrections.
It was for an overtime budget, and we had tabled that along with the other one, so we have two things.
We need somebody to bring it up off the table, and then.
Right, well, we have it written down here, we have it written down here twice, so. Were they both? One was tabled.
Okay.
The $20,000 for part-time was tabled, correct?
Well, I think.
Or were they both?
I think they're both, because you guys didn't establish an overtime account.
But then what about paying in the comp time? Was that tabled? I don't,
Just say, I don't,
let's say it was. We'll take them both off the table. Pull them both.
motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Motion to take community corrections off the table by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Got it covered. Come on down. So the first item is give me the dollar amount because, for sake of time, on the comp time buyout. 40,
I think it was like 44,000. It is $44,240.09.
so this is to buy out the comp time because you're so short-staffed, they can't take comp time.
Right, but keep in mind that some of these have resigned, so we're gonna have to pay them anyway.
Yep.
Right. What's your pleasure?
If they do, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Is this gonna be a motion of support? I don't think this was published.
Correct. Well, yeah, it'd be motion of support.
Yeah. If we do, and I'll say I can make the motion. I'll make a motion that would say that it's the amount we'll pay to 44.3, but unfortunately, because our rules, you're going to have to come back for the people that resign and then ask to get paid for that. We know whether 6 days or that.
She's talking about some of these people that we owe comp time to resigned, no longer work there. Not just their sick days and their vacation days.
Do we have to give them the
This,
comp
you're
time?
saying to come back for this too?
Well, no,
Okay.
we can pay the present employees, but anybody who resigns, she's going to have to come back and request.
Are they already gone?
No, they put their 2 weeks. One
These
is,
are, one
is
is,
gone. I've never known I had to come back to pay them out there.
when you pay out vacation time and everything? Well, now, let me just get a clarification from our attorney. Usually when they come to us, they're asking us for additional appropriation because they don't have their money in their budget. To pay out vacation and sick time.
That's what we've seen.
Does she need, if she has the money in her budget, does she need to come to us to ask to pay vacation and and sick time for employees when they're gone?
Well, you see, I don't know because I don't know what the employee handbook says about that.
All right.
And then,
We've lost 36 employees and we've never come and asked to pay out there.
Well, then do what you.
I think the only ones that come before us are asking us for an additional appropriation because they don't have the money in their accounts to do it.
Okay, so explain this, just so I get the concept. We have them, well, hold on, we have the money in the budget, but then we have to establish an overtime account and put more. So if the money's already budgeted, and if the money's there, why would you need additional funds for overtime?
That was my question last.
It doesn't make sense, just.
So let me back up, The 44,240, she's asking permission, she has the money for that. Am I right?
Except for the county employees, those that
Except
are
for the-
being paid out of from the county.
And how much are
It
those?
was 11,000 and change, right? Did you say that?
It's if you pay them completely out, it's going to be close to $18,000.
$18,000.
So
that answers the question. Okay, Mr. President, we need to take care of the county employees right now. She has enough for this. So I make a motion for 18,000. How much?
I don't have.
Not to exceed 19,000.
Not to exceed $19,000. This is support. Motion for support.
Do we need to create an account?
Well, that's a
different one.
That's different. That's next.
Okay.
Okay, so this money you need, right? This money is going to need to be appropriated next month.
That's what the
You
government-
need that. You need this 19,000.
Right.
Okay.
That's the Fed's told her that.
Got it.
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Mullenhour.
Total amount?
Not, what?
Not to exceed 18, not to
Not to
exceed
exceed
19.
$19,000 for the county employees' portions.
179.
Would you
Yeah, what do we got, buddy?
also include in your motion that she has permission to spend the remainder of that 44,200 for the other employees?
Randy said, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Hold on. So that is the money that the DOC monies that they gave you approval
Correct.
to do so.
Correct.
Right.
Okay, so that's the grant fund.
So we're just giving her permission just to
spend it. Yeah.
That's it. You okay with that?
Yes.
All right. Does everybody understand that? So this will wipe out all that comp time money.
Correct.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Stay there. Now we got the $20,000 for the overtime budget.
Mm-hmm.
Which she doesn't have an overtime budget right now, right?
That's
Correct. You need to establish an overtime account and then fund it. Mike, because she was getting reimbursed, but that grant's gone right now for this year.
right.
So we have to. Mr. President, I make a motion right now to approve the 20,000 for overtime budget
And create the account.
And create the overtime account. Okay, I'm sorry.
And out of general for 1,000, general 1,000, and create the overtime account.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, seconded by Mr. Mullenhour. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. You covered all?
No, we have one more thing. We have the $100,000 that she needs for the ankle bracelets.
We're not.
We advertised it for 200,000 last month, so we only gave her half. Does that mean we need to
We're good
advertise
to-
it, or we're good to go?
Do we need to advertise that again?
Advertise it because you only appropriated 100,000.
We appropriated 200,000. We only gave her 100,000 of it, told her to,
Oh, then that's fine. If you appropriated the
am I
200,000.
correct, Vaughn?
Yes, sir.
Yes. sir.
Okay, then you're good to go.
Like that. Tim, why can't I get an answer out of you like that?
I defer to him.
Yes, sir. Damn.
And I don't like to be ambushed.
All right.
So I make a motion to pay the $100,000 for
Scram unit, is that what it is? What do you call it?
It's our GPS.
for the GPS systems, and that covers you for the rest of the year.
It should.
This year.
Support
Yeah.
services.
And it doesn't say where it's coming out of here, so it would have to come out of the what's that?
Whatever it was last time.
Whatever was last time.
Whatever was last time. So please look it up. I'm sorry, I don't. You know what? We have notes from last time. I'll look it up in the meantime.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Mullenhour for the remaining balance for the GPS units. Any other questions or comments?
Can I possibly get a motion of support for any salary increases so that?
Whoa. Let's finish this vote first.
Okay.
All
Go
right,
ahead.
just 1 second.
Okay.
You're asking for a motion in a motion.
Okay.
Can't do that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, he'll get you that account unless, I think he's got it, so. Anything else?
Yes.
Oh.
Can I possibly get a motion of support for salary increases? I gave you a 10%, 15%, and a 25% comparison. I needed to retain employees and also to attract new employees. I really do not know what we're going to do after October 7th to maintain work release because I only have one male staff.
I'll make a motion to support at 10%.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, seconded by Mr. Yagowski for motion of support for the 10%. Any other questions or comments?
Somebody else would like to support higher, then speak up.
Well, we can always amend it.
Yep.
later. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Can we
Okay.
get a breakdown of that, what the salaries are gonna be?
It's in the folder. She gave
Yeah,
us a
it's right
folder.
here.
Let's give us that folder right here.
Oh, it's in there, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Have a good night.
You too. Family advocates are coming back for the
Motion to approve.
second half, the 12,500. It was broken into two parts. Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum.
Out of the
second
same
by
fund, which I believe was Riverboat, but
Mr. Cunningham. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. Next one is LaPorte County Maintenance requesting engineering studies for the bathroom in the amount of 20,000. Engineering study for the electrical infrastructure improvements, 22,000, and replace the speakers paging system at the fairgrounds in the amount of 60,000.
Good evening, Council. Larry Lewandowski, Facilities Director, Darlene Hale, IT Director. We've got three projects at the fairgrounds that we've been looking at. These are projects that have been needed to be done for quite a long time. The first one is the bathrooms, which you heard Mr. Kessler talk about. Now, we did talk with the engineer since I sent out this letter to everybody, and our county engineer has said that he believes he could get the engineering done for that, so we'll pull that one out.
You're pulling the $20,000
We'll pull the $20,000 one out. Our engineer does believe that he could get that done in a feasible amount of time and get it downstate so that all of these could go out for bid. The second one is for the engineering costs of the electrical infrastructure in the campgrounds. Something that's happened over the last couple of years is they're in need of having to use generators. We cannot use a large portion of the campground. By doing this, we would improve almost 128 campsites. We'd be able to bring in a lot larger campers, which would bring in a lot more income. We have several people that would love to be out there and utilize these campgrounds throughout the year. So it's that would help us to generate the income that we've talked about for so long on the fairgrounds. And that's easy income. They park it out there, you know, and they pay rent. I think it's usually $35, $40 a night that they're there. We have one individual talked to me the other day that said if we had that kind of setup, he would be there through December. You know, we wouldn't have to shut him down and get him out of there. And we've had that several times. So.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the electrical engineers study, infrastructure study for $22,000 out of,
It could be taken from the improvement lit.
the improvement lit.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Yagowski, second by Mr. Rosenbaum. For the $22,000 for the electrical engineer.
I have-
Go ahead.
A
I'm sorry.
question.
Yes, sir.
So you just said that the campgrounds makes X amount of dollars. Where does that money go? Back into the general fund?
No.
No, the money that's made out there right now is, there's an agreement between the Fair Board and FMEC. What is the Fair Board manages the people when they come out there right now, and then there's a portion that is given back to the FMEC.
The majority is given back to FMEC.
Yeah, I don't know
What
that-
pays for the administrative people of FMEC.
Mr. President, I made a mistake in my statement. It'd be economic development. I apologize.
Economic development.
Scrivener's
You got
error.
that?
Lit. Scrivener's error.
Did that answer your question?
Yes. So the money they're making out there does not come back to the general fund.
No. It helps cover the cost of operating the,
Salaries for individuals out there.
correct. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Nay.
Next item, number 3, is replace the speakers paging system at the fairgrounds not to exceed $60,000.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit on it, and Darlene we've looked at this. This is a depleted system that's out there. It's owned by an individual. It's, as Darlene can say, it works sometimes it doesn't. I mean, it's always a problem. Anytime someone wants to use it, we have to call this individual if you can get a hold of him to get it even turned on. I'll let Darlene talk about what this covers. And
So we're proposing the new speaker system, so that during Fair Week, the sheriff's office, EMS, anybody, or the Fair Board administrators or the board members, if there's an emergency, whatever, you can announce across all the new speakers. And you can do it via zone. So if you only need to announce to the fairgrounds, then, or not the fairgrounds, the campgrounds, then you could just announce whatever you need to out there. So it would be replacing all the speakers, all the microphones. It's going to be controlled by the county and the fair board. So no longer, so if there's an event going on, if it's scheduled through FMEC or the fair board, they would have access.
It'd be owned by the county.
Yes.
Correct.
And this is also the disaster relief area
Yes,
for
it
the
is.
county.
Correct.
Because I know NIPSCO and different ones.
Yes.
And we've had NIPS go out in the last couple of years when there have been storms and stuff that have used the property out there. During that time, they call us, we open up the gates, we clear the area for them, they have it. And this would be a very, very good situation for them to have speakers. There are no speakers anywhere in the campground right now. The campground, the north end, have no speakers that actually work with the system. So this system would actually, correct it, would actually hit those areas.
Oh, yes.
And is this system expandable? So if
Yes.
buildings or something's added, they could always add to it? Okay.
So if we needed extra speakers in a certain area because we find the parking lot isn't covered well or something, and are they wireless so that we're not gonna run wires, or are they gonna be underground wires?
With fiber, right?
Yeah, they're not going to be wireless because wireless is unreliable. Plain and
Just
simple.
wanna make sure we're clear.
Right, and with it being our emergency situation out there too, that we'll be utilizing in different areas, you know, we want to make sure that we have a stable system.
Is it fiber or a VP, it's like a VPN?
It's going to be fiber. We're going to run fiber to the different areas and then,
Are we gonna have a generator on in case anything disaster?
We don't have a generator out there.
But is this,
Well, I mean, we do have portable generators out there in the event that we need to do things, so we do have portable
I
generators.
just wanna make sure if it's a true emergency that it's not dead in the water.
we could get generators out there.
Yeah, we do have portable generators out there because if something were to happen in JDC, can we correct something? That is the housing area to bring all of the inmates at that time. So we do have generators if something were to happen so that we can power things up in the building. That is in place out there right now.
Thank you.
So we're gonna go from currently someone else owning it, and then are they gonna come up and pick up their equipment, and then we're putting in our own system?
Correct.
Okay.
I can speak on that, gentleman. That's been a nightmare for how many years? 50, 60 years?
Be nice, Mr. Gardner.
Thanks.
All right. No, I'm just.
This is a good thing. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
Did we make a motion?
Thank you. Did,
One wants to know
whoa, whoa, whoa.
from where.
We didn't make a motion on
What?
60,000.
One wants to know from where.
Well, I don't know that we made him, I thought,
Make a motion. We did.
I don't have it down.
okay,
I'll make a
let's
motion
do some motions.
Mike made a motion.
to approve. the
Mike made a motion, seconded by Terry.
you.
Motion by Mr.
I had 50-year project.
Molina. I was trying to move it along, but they caught me. All right, now,
Now we'll go.
ARP,
You good with ARP?
why wouldn't you
Yeah,
take it on the
that-
same
Yeah, that'd be fine.
economic lid?
Well, we could take it. I don't know if it would qualify on the economic.
All right.
But ARP. is
Doesn't matter,
quality
that's
of-
fine. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is LaPorte County Park Department requesting additional appropriation. Wait a second. Before you leave, we need to introduce Joy Ziegler is the new, she can't run, it's not. Joy Ziegler, Susie Carpenter, resigned because she moved away. And Joy Ziegler, and if
Looking to move away too now?
it's the new FMEC director out at the fairground, so welcome.
Thank you. Yes,
Thank
thank
you.
you. I'm excited and looking forward to keep
We didn't say
moving
you could
forward.
talk.
Okay.
Just kidding.
No, come on back.
Come on back. I'm
Hey,
just joking.
I just want to make a comment. Her family has been more of a valuable family out there for many years. Her father, her sister, and her. We couldn't have picked a better person to do the job. So
And her
thank
mother.
you.
Hope I can hold up to
Well,
that. Yes.
I just want to say the road's named after them, so.
I did
think
forget
that's
your
something-
mother too, but yes.
Yeah.
You know, Terry, I want to concur. She's a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
I mean, she brings
Remember that.
a smile to everywhere she goes.
Yeah.
So
It's with the name. I have to.
Congratulations.
So
Thank you.
you. Looking forward to working with everyone and doing this. So I'm excited.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Joy.
thank you again.
Take care. Next item is LaPorte County Park Department requesting for the, that air conditioning unit, the one unit not to exceed $5,000.
Make a motion at a riverboat.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Cunningham out of, Riverboat. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Next item is LaPorte County 911. This is for the $5,000 that we did a favorable vote on. There's two options. One is for 10 pays. There's only 9 pays left in a year, correct? So if we went back to the date that we did the favorable pay, it would be 10 pays. If not, it would be 9 pays. If we did it from today forward.
I make a motion for the 9 pays from today forward out of the riverboat.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rosenbaum, second by Mr. Mullenhour. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is LaPorte County Sheriff requesting additional appropriation from Riverboat for jail overtime in the amount of $91,000.
Motion to approve?
Motion by Mrs. Grammarosa. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Rosenbaum. On what account?
Riverboat?
Thank you. That would be appropriate. That's a good choice.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? I just want to, while the sheriff is here, because I've gotten a couple texts, I think the sheriff deputies are like worried because we didn't vote again tonight. Is there,
I actually, I met with them.
Did you talk to them?
And they're fine.
all right, good, never mind.
We were under the impression that you were when you adopted the budget tonight. That would be part of it. I think that was.
Didn't adopt the budget tonight.
Well, I understand that. We find that out now, but we were under the understanding that
Should've asked.
perhaps you were going to. We did. That was the impression that I had gotten several weeks ago.
When we do adopt the budget, I think it should hopefully be in October, so. At our next meeting, but it's
fine.
yeah.
You're very interested in what's going on in county government.
December last year, so.
Right, yeah, we're trying to get it done a lot sooner, there's a lot of moving
understand
parts.
that. Thank you.
Definitely.
A lot of moving
Thank
parts
you.
this year.
Bring everybody out tonight. That was nice.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting their points from their government class in high school.
You want me to sign something for them?
I'm gonna make a motion to approve the Port County Weights and Measures appropriation from Riverboat to pay his part-time pay. He had to increase the amount that we allowed him to increase it, that's why it's at $28.40.
For the part-time. Motion by Mr. Gardner, second by Mr. Rosenbaum, Mr. Mullenhour, for the $2,840. It's getting late, folks. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Do you have a question? Go ahead.
I had a question for Mr. Quinn. Were you one of those paying less than $13 an hour?
Yeah. Last year you raised it to 15, and then
You gotta walk all the way up, you gotta walk all the way up here.
last year you raised it to 15. You gave me the appropriation to cover last year. Then this year, because it was done past the budget time,
Right.
the budgeted amount was 19,000, and it needs to be 21,840.
So just
So that's the
small.
difference.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going all the way down to,
Yeah, we voted. He called.
we did.
Yes, for a question. Okay.
You wanna vote again?
It's okay.
You could vote again.
Yeah, kind of planner, yeah.
What?
You're calling something?
No,
Oh.
somebody talking?
I don't know, did you all call the vote on the sheriff's overtime? I know that you
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
called it, okay, great,
Yeah.
thanks. Just spaced out there.
All those in favor of the 91,000 for the sheriff's overtime, say aye.
Aye.
Those
Thank you.
opposed, we're gonna miss you, John, trust me. Yeah,
You need us to do the weights and measures too, because we did that.
no, yeah.
I heard.
Aye.
Okay.
Pioneer Cemetery request,
Good evening.
oh, that's Sue, oh, I'm sorry,
I'm here.
it's been a long night. I forgot Sue Webster was on there. So Pioneer Cemetery requests an additional appropriation of riverboat or ARP funds for the survey cost for Sharp Cemetery in the amount of $4,100. Miriam
Miriam Benedict
Miriam.
Memorial Cemetery.
Memorial Service in Webster Cemetery in the amount of $3,900. And I believe Mr. Cunningham,
Yes, my question is, the survey cost and then the bottom one says retracement cost, isn't that actually survey as well?
Of what? All I have are the actual survey costs.
So,
I don't know what else you're asking.
okay, on our agenda, it shows survey costs, Sharp Cemetery, Grand Benedict, and Webster Cemetery, there's three of those. And there's dollar amounts, and then it says retracement costs for each parcel, and I think it's for the same three cemeteries. And after speaking with one of the surveyors, retracement really means you're getting the outside boundary of the cemetery, correct? Isn't that like a survey?
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought it was the same thing.
So that's my question. It looks to me like, why do we have survey costs for the same three cemeteries twice?
so just for clarification, the request is a one-page request, it just says the cemetery's on there. Where did the retracement cost come from, Vaughn? Do you have, is that on a separate document?
Also, it's, yes, it's got a piece of paper, no letterhead to it. While you're looking it up, real quick, is this something the government wants you to do right now? This date, that's you to put this, fences up, is that what it's for?
No, it's for us. Three of our cemeteries are, one of them doesn't have a fence around it at all, and we need a fence around it for the safety of the cemetery. and the other two just have pieces of cemetery fencing that is missing altogether, and we need to get a survey. It's on the ends of it, on the ends of the cemeteries and, you know, along the sides of it, and we need to get a survey before we can get the fences repaired or replaced altogether.
So Sue, we have a second document from Matt, who's with Charles Hendricks and Associates. Do you have that?
I have that, yes.
So you don't need those funds?
Well, we turned in, no, I thought they were the same thing as what their survey costs were. We need them for all three cemeteries. If we can get the funding for all three cemeteries, is what we're hoping
President,
for.
motion to table until next meeting.
Well, why don't we take care of the survey costs?
That's because I think there's some confusion as both of these are survey costs. That's my point.
But you did you talk to Hendricks though?
I did.
And he said these are good prices?
One of these prices is from Hendricks. That's my point. If you look at the first section, it says survey costs. There's
I agree.
three cemeteries.
I agree.
The next section says retracement cost, and Hendricks says that's boundary survey. So what are we surveying in the first section if we're surveying the boundaries in the second for lower prices?
So Sue, it looks as though we sitting in front of us, we have one from Khalil and Associates and one from Hendricks. The one from Hendricks is obviously less. It's $2,100 for the first parcel, $1,500 for the second parcel, and $2,500 for the third parcel.
So it's 5,100 combined, and that's a 50% down payment proposal. So it's 10,200. When you add the 4,100, 3,900, and 3,900, that's 11,900. So now we need to know which way it's gonna go. If you multiply it by 2, this is a 50%.
The first one is 6,200, not 5,200. I'm sorry, 6,100, not 5,100.
This should be the full amount. This wouldn't, you don't send
No,
me and say.
The second one.
Says a down payment of 50%.
Oh,
I'll second the motion made by Councilman Cunningham to table.
Motion to table.
Second.
We have a motion to table and seconded. All those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed? Sue, we'll get this straightened out and get it done next month. Sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're right.
Uh-huh.
That could be, I don't know if
Can
it's full
you-
price of 50%.
Who's the liaison for the surveyor? Well, we don't want to have him. Can you double check on these and see if these are both? I mean, it's obviously two bids, right, for the same thing?
What she gave me was exactly what you got. It's exactly what she gave me.
Mr. President, I don't mean to go too far. So I heard her say, and maybe that same question you could be
You
fine.
know, this matter's tabled.
Right.
If you want to give me some direction to look at the parcels or something, we're good
Could you,
with that.
could you look into these two? Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
No, but
Thank you.
I know it's tabled, but the question I'm gonna ask you is not with the
Ask
table,
me anything you want.
not the table. But I'm asking you, she said one was to new, because they have no fence, which you have to have. The other two are repair. You don't have to have one for to repair. That was my question.
I will reach out to them. I will find out.
Right.
And be very specific so that we're not throwing our surveyor under the bus. He did not bid this out. It's another father's firm. To be clear, Tony did not bid this job.
Correct, that's not, yeah, I said Matt.
Matt
Yeah,
did it, yes.
Yep, definitely. Any other business before the council tonight?
they do this one?
Council comments?
Oh, wait a minute.
What?
Bottom.
We already did it.
We did it.
We did.
Passed it.
Yep.
Wow.
Tony was up there.
We did it during department heads,
What was that? Oh,
and we said to take it out of,
economic lit.
Yeah, you just need to keep up with this, Vaughn. That's all I'm.
Guys are just too fast for me.
Yeah, yeah,
That's because your partner's not helping you today. That's why.
yeah.
I fixed the 10 hours to 9 hours.
Adjourn?
motion to adjourn.
All right.
And a second.
All those in favor say aye?
Did you hear that this time? Because I read
Yeah.
the minutes.
Yeah, it said-
Motion second.
But clearly second was not heard.